I always wondered why my dog sat outside the bathroom door. My boyfriend and I had been dating for 8 months, and with both our leases ending soon, we decided to rent a house together. We live in a major city and the housing market has never been in our favor, but we were hoping to find a diamond in the rough. After a couple weeks, we found it. A little 2-1 cottage with a fenced yard built in 1944. The rent was extremely cheap, even for an older house. The realtor said the family there before had owned it less than a year and needed to leave in a hurry, which explained the low rent. With the global pandemic that caused so much unemployment, we figured they must have been struggling to pay the mortgage. During this time my boyfriend, James, and I had been discussing finally adopting a dog. That's actually how we met. We both volunteered for an event to help get local dogs adopted. Finally having a yard meant we could adopt an angel. We found a 5-year-old golden retriever that had eyes that could see through you. I felt an instant connection with him. I felt like I'd already known him for years. We named him Huckleberry, Huck for short. Now it was Charlie, James, and Huck. We were a little family. It was a fairy tale. This fairy tale does not have a happy ending. After having some friends help us move and unpacking a few boxes, we were settled into our new home. Days after moving in, we noticed that Huck was really scared of the bathroom. He wouldn't go in. He would only sit outside the door. If either James or I tried to close the door, Huck would freak out and scratch and jump at the door until we opened it. When we rescued him, they told us he was found on the side of the road, so we didn't know his history. We figured he had some bad experience with a shower or hated confined spaces. One thing I found odd about the house is that most of the fixtures in the house were the originals from 1944. But the shower had been remodeled. The only thing in the house that was updated, it was floor-to-ceiling glass panes now. The oddest part was a locking latch on the inside of the shower door. Who needs to lock themselves in a shower? That doesn't seem safe. The glass wasn't typical shower glass either. This was really thick glass. I don't think Thor's hammer could break that glass. As weird as it all was, we were paying so little that we'd finally be able to save up to do some traveling. A few weeks after moving in, James noticed a small door on the outside of the house. You'd have to crawl on your belly to get through it. Even for me, as a 5'4" tiny woman, I knew it would be hard to fit through it. Didn't matter though, because the door would not budge. The realtor didn't know anything about it and probably said it was just so someone could access the foundation of the house. No big deal, right? A weird tiny door on the side of your house, basically leading someone under your bathroom. Not creepy at all. I kept picturing a dead body buried under our bathroom. Soon after James discovered the door, we'd hear noises at night coming from the bathroom. I was worried this was a ghost or our house was haunted, but James, being a tough guy, assured me it must be raccoons or opossums that made a home under our bathroom. James grew up as a child of 2 Mexican immigrants who raised him on ghost stories. It's just our culture, Charlie. We raise our kids to be scared of supernatural things, so they behave. Ghosts and monsters don't exist, he'd say to me to calm me down. Huck was on my side of things because he would sit at the bathroom door and growl. We both decided to head to Target to pick up some snacks and some toilet paper since it's so hard to get now. This was the first time since moving in that we left Huck at home alone. When we returned an hour later, we found Huck laying by the front door with blood on the wood floors, whimpering. I freaked out. James was calmer. I wanted to call the cops and report a break-in. Someone had to have done this to Huck. James said that Huck had what looked like 5 claw marks on his side, and lucky it wasn't deep. There was also a weird clear gooey substance around the wound. We rushed him to the vet. They stitched him up and kept him for a day to monitor. He was going to be fine. I was feeling uncomfortable going back to our house without having the cops check it. But again, James assured me everything was fine. He even grabbed a large machete he kept hidden by the front door and did a sweep of the house. What if the intruder had a gun? He said that it was a wild animal that attacked Huck, but there was nothing to be found. No forced entry, no broken windows. I was exhausted after all this, so I went to lay in bed. James headed to shower since some of Huck's blood got on him. He closed the door behind him. I must have dozed off because I jolted awake to the most horrible screeching I had ever heard. I heard banging and I heard James screaming too. I rushed to the bathroom to help my boyfriend, but when I opened the door I froze. What I saw makes no sense to me. There was a small creature clawing and scratching at the shower door. It was jumping up to eye level with James. In those few seconds I saw terror in his eyes. It was about 2 feet long and had skin that looked pinkish gray, but it was in a frenzy. It was literally seconds that I had the door open because this creature turned and leaped at me, but I shut the door just in time. I could hear its claws shredding the old wood door. It was going to get through. I did the only thing I could think of. I ran to my car outside, jumped in, and called the cops as I drove down the street away from that house. I knew the cops wouldn't believe my story, so I said I was the neighbor and saw armed men breaking into the house. At least the cops would maybe have a fighting chance against whatever the thing was. I'm down the street now typing this. I saw the cops arrive 10 minutes ago, but they haven't come back out again. James hasn't texted or called me either. I don't know what to do and I don't know what is in my house. I am sure that Huck was attacked by it. Now I understand why he hated the bathroom and refused to let us close the door. This thing was waiting for its opportunity. If the cops don't come out in another 10 minutes, I'm going to check it out. I hope that's not a mistake.